again downtown. We're going to my surgery. They're gonna check me in, and it's gonna be a long day, but
very long day.
Hopefully John will give you updates throughout the day, and hopefully I
he
can
will.
too.
This guy right here.
It's like early. It's like 8:30 today. We woke up at 6. So tired, John? I'm tired too. And I'm hungry, and I can't eat at all.
I will. Into the hospital. How are you feeling, Whitney?
I'm good.
You feel good?
Tights and socks on.
Yep. She's ready to go. Look at her. Poor Whitney, hooked up to an IV.
Come over here, John. They burst my vein.
You're so vain.
It hurts kind of to turn my arm like this. I don't know why.
Then don't do it.
Probably because they burst my vein.
Yeah.
And I can feel a bruise now.
Oh,
It hurts.
I'm sorry. We are going to be here for hours, and we've already been here for hours.
You've already been here how many hours?
3. 3 hours.
3?
Yep.
Surgery went well. I'm whispering because I don't think I'm supposed to film. But I got my ice chips. And they taste amazing. Okay guys, so I just wanted to update you guys and tell you a little bit about the surgery. So, it was really cool actually, because they didn't put me to sleep, and I was actually super nervous when I went into the surgery because I had never I'd never had surgery before, so they yesterday was like so long. I don't know why we had to be there at 9 o'clock in the morning, but we were there at 9 o'clock in the morning. We didn't get into surgery until 3:30, so we were just waiting around all day because I think they were hoping to move up our surgery, but then they never did. And so then I got into surgery probably at 3:30 or 3 or something, and before that, they gave me like a few medicines. Like one was to keep me from contracting, one was like to relax me. There was a few others to keep me from throwing up, to like settle my stomach. And then they gave me another medicine once I got into the OR that made me like really comfortable and really relaxed, to where I wasn't even bugged that like anything was happening to me. And I still could tell, I could still hear everything like that the people were saying, the surgeons, and I kind of like could get what was going on in the surgery. They put a curtain up so I couldn't see anything that was going on, like kind of like a C-section. And then the anesthesiologist nurse, he just like stood by my head the whole time, and he talked me through the surgery. And he was like so nice and calming and comforting. So whenever I heard the doctor say something that like I wasn't familiar with, and he'd be like, everything's okay, like they're just searching for, and he told me step by step, and I could ask him a million questions throughout the surgery. The surgery was probably like an hour and a half. The first part of the surgery, they were just putting amniotic fluid in my belly so that the shunt had room for both sides, because it has to hang out on the inside of the baby's bladder and on the outside of the baby's bladder, but it had to have room on the outside of the baby's bladder, so they had to put fluid in me. And that was probably the hardest part of the surgery, because they poked me in one spot, and they said they were having a hard time getting fluid in where the feet are. And if you could imagine, like the baby was smushed because there's no amniotic fluid, and so it's like this, like I guess like other parts of my stomach, and then there's the baby, and there's no, like, you can't even see the sac. It's like the baby's like smushed, so they're putting a needle in and they're trying to put amniotic fluid in the sac to make it more spacious. And then They're specifically trying to get it by the feet for some reason. And then, so they had to poke me twice because they couldn't get all the amniotic fluid in, like, the whole area. And then in the second hole, they put in the probe to put the shunt in. The probe is like a big tube and a bigger tube. It's not really that big. It's actually, they said that's the smallest. The anesthesiologist said that was the smallest probe he had ever seen. And then they put the shunt tube down that probe and put the shunt in. And it's cool because they said they could see the bladder draining out into, like, they could see the stream of water in the ultrasound. They also put a camera down the tube to make sure that they put the shunt in the right place. So they had a camera down there somewhere. And the incision that they put on my stomach is like literally this big. So they just glued it together. They didn't have to put stitches or anything. And yeah, so it was actually very easy surgery, and I was really worried and freaking out for nothing because it was so comfortable, and I almost now think it would be scarier to be put to sleep because, I don't know, they walked me step by step through the whole thing, and the guy held my hand if I was nervous, and yeah, and then we waited a while in the OR, and I could tell because the pain medicine they put me on, or the anesthesia that they put me on, wore off really quickly. So I could feel pain, and then they gave me some morphine, which they said was fine for the baby, I don't know. And then I like pretty much instantly got like a headache afterwards, and throughout the day the headache got worse. And then we were in a delivery room, which was like, we were in a recovery room, which was like a recovery room for a C-section. And we could hear like the other babies crying like in another room. And then we from there we had dinner, and then we went to our room for the night to sleep.
So yeah, we spent the night there. It was cool thing that happened. So every so often, like pretty often, not throughout the middle of the night, we kept hearing Brahms' lullaby, and we were just thinking, what the heck is that? It's scary.
And the hospital's kind of old, so it was like this old hospital, and the lullaby goes off.
I wasn't thinking that it was scary like
I
that.
was thinking it was scary.
I was just like, that's weird. Obviously it was for a reason, but I mean, I was just weird. So this morning Whitney asked the nurse, and she said, yeah, that goes off every time a baby's born. So that was pretty cool. I like it.
We thought it was coming from our room though, but they just like were projecting it to all the rooms, I guess.
So now we're going home, like Whitney said. So we're closing the vlog, obviously a day later. But so we apologize for that. But subscribe, follow us, and so that's pretty much it today and yesterday.
I'm on bed rest for a week, so